Majora's Mask is easily the strangest, most risk-taking adventure in the Zelda series. It's completely unlike any of Link's other games, and delivers a tense, bizarre, and somber exploration of what it's like to experience the end of the world again and again. Most of its crazy ideas pay off just as well in the Nintendo 3DS as they did in the N64 original 15 years ago, which is the mark of a great game. But a handful of design decisions haven't aged as well, and some of the changes made to the 3DS remaster left me a bit confused throughout my 20-hour adventure. Still, it's absolutely worth the time to play or revisit. Majora's Mask's core time-looping conceit is a deep puzzle in and of itself. There's a really great kind of tension to having to complete a task at hand in the 72-hour time limit. Fighting the boss of a dungeon during the waning hours of the final day is incredibly stressful, but landing that final blow with only minutes to spare is fantastically satisfying. I love the density and multiple layers of the world and its inhabitants. They're extremely weird, and I mean that in the best possible way. Its oddities make each turn of the adventure a memorable, dreamlike event. UFOs are causing a ruckus at Romani Ranch. Ghosts roam the world, and one side quest has you helping out a disembodied hand that resides in a toilet. Piecing together characters, stories, motivations, and goals over the 3 days is a treat, and doing it again armed with new information from the last cycle and special items that carry over exposes new facets. Even the side quests are rich with story and definitely worth completing. Throughout all of this, the terrifying moon lingers in the sky, grinning at you with apocalyptic joy. The colorful nature of Majora's Mask looks even better now thanks to improved textures, draw distance, and some really great use of 3D. All of these strange occurrences add an effective layer of sadness to the world and make Termina as textured and memorable as any version of Hyrule we've seen. A few new tools, including the ability to set in-game reminders and precise control over skipping ahead in time, make it easy to optimize your schedule. That being said, I wish the information you learned about characters and their schedules was tracked and presented in a more manageable and digestible manner. The Bomber's Notebook, your in-game secretary, isn't all that intuitive. I found myself having to constantly scribble down real-world notes about where people would be at certain times and in which order I had to complete objectives to finish a specific quest. In a strange but effective departure from Zelda conventions, most of your powers and upgrades come from the 24 masks scattered across Termina. These add a lot of depth to how Link moves through the world, and each contribute to some really great puzzles throughout the adventure. On the other hand, a few Majora's risks don't pay off as well. A prime example is that this adventure features only 4 major dungeons, and not all of them are as great as the Stone Temple. That one's a real test of wits that throws in puzzles that require you to carefully hop between all 3 of your main masks, and proves to be one of the toughest but most satisfying dungeons the Zelda series has ever created. On the flip side, the Great Bay Temple is bloated, filled with unintuitive puzzles, and far too long. Considering it's a quarter of Majora's dungeons, it's disappointing to say the least. At the end of the dungeons, though, are some of the most interesting Zelda bosses ever. Majora's Mask retains the same excellent Z-targeting and pattern memorization that's been a staple of the series since Ocarina of Time, but the additional abilities of the 3 major masks adds a new layer to each encounter. A boss battle that highlights this is Got, a giant mechanical bull that you have to fight while wearing your Goron mask and rolling around an arena. It plays out like a tense, puzzle-filled version of the chariot scene from Ben-Hur, and there's nothing else like it. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D proves that interesting game design and strong world building never get old. Even 15 years later, it still delivers charming characters, tense resource management, and a world rife with personality. Despite some cumbersome menus and a single drag of a dungeon, Majora's Mask is a great adventure that stands the test of time. For more on The Legend of Zelda, you're already in the right place, IGN.com.